The other day, we made a video looking at some of the biggest upgrades in football this season, and some of you were asking for us to talk about the downgrades as well. So here you go, guys. These are the 8 biggest downgrades in football this season. We'll start with Dango Ouattara. On his own, he is not a bad player, for sure. He has been directly involved in 11 goals in 26 appearances for Brentford since moving to the London club in the summer. Those are not exactly awful numbers, but they are surely a massive downgrade from what Bryan Mbeumo was producing for the club just last season. The Cameroon international had 28 direct goal involvements in 38 Premier League appearances last season and finished as the league's 4th highest goalscorer. Going from that to Ouattara is surely a downgrade, and considering they also lost Wissa in the summer, Brentford should have been in a terrible place right now. But they have surprisingly been doing rather well so far. Speaking of Wissa, he moved to Newcastle in the summer, and they too have seen a massive downgrade this season for sure. They had Alexander Isak last season, and in the black and white of Newcastle, the Swede was one of the best strikers in the world. In fact, he was the highest scoring centre-forward in the Premier League last season, having finished with 23 goals, one more than Erling Haaland managed. Knowing how valuable he was, the Magpies wanted to keep him so badly, but the former Dortmund man insisted on leaving, forcing a move to Liverpool on transfer deadline day. Isak's insistence on leaving forced Newcastle to go out and look for a replacement, and their search led them to Nick Woltemade, a man who cost them a club record €75 million. So far, he has managed only 10 goals in 42 appearances across all competitions. We don't need anyone to tell us that this is a massive downgrade from what the Magpies were enjoying with Isak last season. What makes this one a bit worse is that this player, who was brought in as a record signing to replace their departing centre-forward, is now being used in the midfield by the coach. Talk about massive downgrades. Anyway, while Isak left to join Liverpool, Trent was leaving the Merseyside club to move to Real Madrid. He left a massive gap in the squad of the Premier League champions, one they have tried to fill but have failed so far. They spent €40 million to bring in Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen in the summer, hoping he would be able to fill the massive shoes Trent left. But so far, the Dutchman has spent just as much time in the hospital as he has spent on the pitch, and that's really the main reason this feels like a massive downgrade. At Liverpool, Trent was more than just a defender. He was a chance creator, an orchestrator, and a leader, so his boots were always going to be big ones to fill. Even if he had been fit, Frimpong may still have struggled to match the impact Trent had while he was at Liverpool, but having missed 20 games due to injury, it just feels like a massive downgrade for now. Surely the Reds would have been in a better place this season if they still had a fully fit Trent, but that wasn't their decision, was it? They wanted to keep him so bad, but the player insisted on leaving. There's another Liverpool signing that was a massive downgrade. Do you know who we're talking about here? Tell us in the comments, we'll see if you're right soon. While you're there, if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Done? Okay, back to the video. Let's now head back to London. In the summer, Spurs parted ways with their captain Son Heung-min out of the blue, and as some sort of replacement, they signed Mathys Tel on a permanent deal after having previously brought him in on loan earlier in the year. Just like Son, Tel is a player who can cover both the left wing and the centre forward, but as far as performances go, he has been a massive downgrade on Son. You see, the South Korea captain did not have the best of seasons before his departure last year, but he still managed 23 goal involvements and of course led Spurs to a trophy. That was what a bad season for Son looked like, but Tel has still not been able to reach that. He has managed only 3 goal involvements across all competitions this season and has been deemed not good enough for the club's Champions League squad. This is surely not what you want from €35 million signing, and it surely feels like a huge downgrade from Heung-min Son. But one of the most obvious downgrades we've seen this season comes from PSG. Luis Enrique decided to send Gianluigi Donnarumma off after his incredible performances in their Champions League winning season and replace him with Lucas Chevalier. The biggest indicator that this was a massive downgrade is the fact that Chevalier has now lost his spot to Matvei Safonov, who was only a backup to Donnarumma. And here's why it feels worse. Donnarumma was not just a decent goalkeeper for PSG, he was one of the best shot stoppers in the world and something of a penalty specialist. He was the reason they got past the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal in the Champions League last season and went all the way to win the trophy for the first time in their history. And remember, Donnarumma was even willing to take a wage cut to remain at the club, but Enrique was unwilling to even come to the table for a conversation. This one right here is a huge downgrade that was very avoidable. There's another goalkeeper downgrade on this list, but before we talk about it, let's go to Crystal Palace. The London club lost their main man Eberechi Eze in the summer and they replaced him with Yeremy Pino. Now, the 23-year-old Spaniard is surely not a bad player, but he is quite obviously a downgrade from Eze. Eze used to carry Palace, score important goals and produce unbelievable moments all on his own. So far, we've seen nothing like that from Pino. Believe it or not, Pino has 2 times more yellow cards than goals in the Premier League this season. Eze was directly involved in 25 goals for Crystal Palace last season, and of course, he scored the all-important goal that won the club its first ever piece of silverware. There's just no way Pino reaches those standards this season with how he has started, so it's safe to say that this is a massive downgrade. Now remember, we said that there's one more Liverpool signing here. We also said that there's another goalkeeper in this video. It's the same person, Georgi Mamardashvili. Liverpool officially signed him in 2024, but he only joined last summer. Before he joined, some folks said that he could maybe push Alisson out of the club after 1 season. But after just a few months in, it became clear that he is far from that. He got to play a decent number of games while Alisson was out injured, and he hardly impressed, which made fans start to miss Carmine Kelleher. Last season, whenever Kelleher was called upon, he never failed to impress, always coming up with important saves both in the league and the Champions League, some even from the penalty spot. As far as backup goalkeepers go, Kelleher was one of the best on the planet last season, and in that aspect, Mamardashvili is surely a huge downgrade for Liverpool. We'll now wrap this up with a coach. Just 3 games into the current season, Nuno Espirito Santo was sacked by Nottingham Forest after he led them to an incredible campaign last season. He was one of the best coaches in the league in the 2024-25 season, becoming the first Nottingham Forest coach to win the Premier League Manager of the Month award 3 times in a single season. He would end up helping Forest secure qualification for European football for the first time in 30 years, wrapping up what was a truly historic season for the Tricky Trees. But having fallen out with the owner of the club early in the season, Nuno was sacked. Well, so far, his replacements have been massive downgrades on him, from Ange Postecoglou to Sean Dyche, and perhaps even to Vitor Pereira, who's there right now. From finishing 7th and qualifying for Europe last season, Forest now find themselves in a relegation fight this season with a real chance of going down. There can be no clearer evidence of a massive downgrade. Are there more big downgrades we've seen so far this season? Tell us about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye!